Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Salamata and you're watching Salamata Speaking. Before we get started, follow me on Instagram, your fave dot sasson. And it's the same on TikTok and Pinterest and Spotify and you can catch me anywhere. If you're not watching this on YouTube, you can listen to it on Spotify, you can listen to it on Apple Podcasts and Google Podcasts and like everywhere you listen to podcasts, you know what I'm saying? I realized I did not post that much this year, and I don't like that, so we're gonna do a real crash course breeze through. I'm gonna post some ones that I'd edited and drafted for a really long while, but sometimes you're just scared to post. Like, I did an entire episode on the Rain website, which is about like violence intervention, like sexual violence intervention as well. And I forgot to post it, and then I have conversations with people and I think it's really important for people to know this, and then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna post this, but it's one person, like, I'm just gonna share. Today I'm just like Barbie because we're doing Halloween in the halls. I'm an RA, if you guys don't know, like, check in. Remember all those years I would have come on here on these videos and be like, I just can't wait to like be in college and be an RA and like decorate my room. I'm living that timeline right now. Like, the other day I saw a TikTok and I was like, you're literally living in an answered prayer. You can get what you want, but you also have to like sustain it and hold on to it and not just be ready to move on to the next thing. So like, I'm living in an answered prayer right now, like, as crazy as my life is right now. And if anyone has a full picture of my life right now, I know they're just confused. Like, I do a lot, but other than that, I'm living in answered prayers. Like, it's also the quote that I always repost. It's like, I can't complain that I have full plate if I said I wanted to eat. Like, that's pretty much how that works. So I was ranting on my story today on Instagram about the fact that subway surfing is the MTA's fault. And I say that because the MTA and the New York City government and like our transit support has had many opportunities to upgrade and update the train system in a way that is both beneficial to employees and the citizens who are riding it, like the patrons. We have seen these upgrades in every other country. I went to Montreal, I said, wow, chef's kiss. Went to Paris, the train is driving itself. You know what I'm saying? Like, there have been upgrades. And we could just make public transportation better so that people do not have to have cars. You know what I mean? Like, they can rely on transit. And, like, we got a really good railroad from back in, the Gilded days. The railroad system, though, the way they decided to choose shit was a little bit, History is one of the things that I nerd out about. Like, not me talking to y'all about the trains that were built in the Gilded Age. And who built those trains, America? Who built those trains? The same immigrants y'all want to leave build the entire foundation of this country. Please don't piss me off. The fact that the United States of America as an entity is literally people who moved here. Like, the only people native to this country are Native Americans. I'm just saying, and any contribution to this country that was made outside of Native Americans was an immigrant's contribution. Just so we are all aware of what the word immigration means and who it applies to. Because it's not just people of color. It's not just Haitians. It's not just Africans. It's not just Arab people. White people immigrate here all the time. You know who immigrates here the most? Under the fly, Canadians. Pamela Anderson. Yes, Pamela Anderson. She's Canadian, y'all. Honestly, Pam Anderson, I would love to have a sit-down conversation with Pamela Anderson. I wrote that down a few years ago, and I'm waiting for the day it happens. Like, I know it's coming. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not even sweating it. Like, I'm like, okay, here's what I'm gonna ask her. And the way this is in my notes, because I'm so dead ass. I watched her documentary and I was like, I have some questions. Because did y'all know she had a show on the stage on Broadway? Correct. Correct. And she literally wrote a book. Here's the questions that I have from Pamela Anderson. Do you finally feel like you're living your dream? How do you reclaim autonomy? What's your love advice for me? Because Shorty's also, she's kept a fine little roster. Yeah, I love Pamela Anderson. And like Pamela Anderson is like capital F feminist, like feminist in terms of like, she's like before Monica Lewinsky, Pamela Anderson. And think about how brutal that must have been on the internet. Right. Before Kim Kardashian, y'all. Listen, my brain for pop culture is also very, I keeps up. Yo. Alright, so the actual conversation that I wanted to talk about, that I was talking about on Instagram, that you guys said to like elaborate on, because I can genuinely talk about this forever and ever and ever. Like, I love education. I started school at the age of 2 years old, and I'm literally 19. I've been in school for 17 years most of my life. The first word that I learned in English while I was still living in Guinea. And I was so young, I might have been 6 or 7 years old, and it's when we found out that like my neighbor's like daughter or somebody that like she knew from Sierra Leone had gotten the visa to come to America. And I was like, oh my god, like America sounds cool, like that's where my dad is. And they're like, yeah, like would you want to go? I'd be like, yeah, like I feel like I could fake like go, but like I wouldn't know the language. And she was like, what word do you want to know? And I said école, and she said that's school. And I said okay. And then I was like, I only know how to say I love you. And so I knew I love you in school when I moved to the United States of America. And now I speak this language fluently. Like, I can't wait to write my little autobiography. I'm so excited. Every time I have to like write anything about myself, I'm just like, this could be good for the memoir. All these letters of recommendation, I'm throwing it in the memoir. Trust that I am. And these letters that like my friends write to me, I'm a big letter writer. I'm a big like physical things in archives and writing and documenting history. I'm gonna end up being a librarian, you know. I could already feel it, but that's besides the point. Anyway, I was talking about how the MTA is absolutely to blame for the fact that people are jumping in the subway and they're dying from it. They have not upgraded the railway system in any way. There's like glass doors that you can put in front of it. You can make the train actually come on time and leave on time where like people can expect it. You can upgrade the trains and make sure like you're actually doing maintenance and inspections on these things so that they don't fall apart in the middle of nowhere. How many people have we watched in the last year have to like get saved from the train? I have gotten stuck on a train elevator before in the New York City, 191st Street. Like I told you, it got to a point where I didn't even go to school senior year because the travel was so treacherous. I had to either take the one train, so I would either take the 2 trains or the 1 train, go downtown and then go back uptown, or I would take the BX6 and take the 1 train. Every single fucking journey that took me to school either took too long or was like always falling apart. The best route I found was the M6 to the M101, and that was when it wasn't cold outside, because when it was cold outside, you had to fly away. And if you knew me in high school, I feel like I've put on more weight than I had in high school, which like in some ways isn't true. Like I think my body just recomped, but because I wear the same clothes kind of. I have these like brown pants. The way I literally have a post of when I got these pants. This was when I really was fucking with ThreadUp. ThreadUp, just sponsor me. Like we should work together again. I know you see the content. I know you're watching. Just sponsor me. Okay? I should have done Halloween costumes off of like ThreadUp pieces. But I had gotten these pants off of ThreadUp at the beginning of, I want to say 2022. Yeah, that's when I graduated. Here they are. And this top. Like, I got this whole set. I still wear these clothes today. You know what I'm saying? I was wearing these pants yesterday. I'm also wearing them in this picture. That's when I was really doing the podcast. You just had to be here. I should unarchive these posts so people know who I am, but the digital footprint, man, mine is deep. But let me show you guys, because I was wearing the pants yesterday. I don't know if I took a picture though. I'm so bad with these OOTDs. I'm not gonna hold you. Did I take a video in the hallway? I hope I did. Okay. I'm wearing the same pants. And that's also what I be talking about when I say invest in your wardrobe. Invest in your wardrobe. Those are brown corduroy pants. As long as they fit me, I'm wearing them. And you know who else is wearing them? My daughter. Because the clothes will not be, paper thin or, musky by then. Here's what we really need to get out of athleisure. You stink. That's what it is. The athleisure smells. And here's my workaround to it. Have as little of it as possible in my wardrobe, which is really fucking hard. And then wash your clothes with baking soda. I pride myself in smelling good. I do. And it's one of those compliments that, make my world go round. You know what I'm saying? Being presented, looking beautiful, it's one of my favorite things. I'm gonna do my makeup a little later. I could do my makeup while I talk to you guys. Will we appreciate that? I don't know how to talk while I do my makeup. Yeah, it's one or the other. They're both really big skills for me. You know what I'm saying? I have to spend my time doing it individually. But that's why I like to be on the phone when I'm doing my makeup. Okay. Excuse me. I'm losing my train of thought. But I like smelling good. I'm looking at my perfumes right now. They saw my post, guys. They saw my post and they commented. Wait, let me get in these comments. Here's the thing. I be I'm gonna be an influencer, and then I do it for 3 weeks, and I'm people are watching me. People can see me. And then I remember, girl, you can't even run for president. Every time a person tells me you should run for president, fix the law first, because it says me as an immigrant who was not born here, I can't run. So there's that. And mind you, I'm only 19, so I really cannot run. Okay? And y'all see how you chewing on my good girl Kamala? Somebody had to be the first, though, and this is why I do believe in representation and exposure and all that. You have to see it to believe in it. You know what I'm saying? And we're going to get to that because the kids exactly need that. The kids are acting up and subway surfing. One, because the MTA hasn't made any, actionable steps for them to actually not do that. Because what you do, you put cops in the train stations, and then you put the robot down in Times Square. My professor brought that up in class the other day, and I was just yo, that's a valid fucking point, because why would they do that? I could have told you that wasn't going to work. You just have to ask one New Yorker. And if you go back and you look at the people's interviews, I responded to that. I'm looking at my perfume. Okay, but here's the thing. You could have asked any New Yorker, and you can see it watching the interviews of the New Yorkers literally being they put a robot where? What? Because I could have told you that wasn't going to work. You could have asked anybody. Whose idea was that? Also, they're trying to do a little upgrade to the, Bronx Expressway, Cross Bronx Expressway. And, they put that shit there, and everybody in the neighborhood had lung and, respiratory problems. That's why everybody got asthma. Notice. Everybody that that lives around that fucking bridge, that highway, they have asthma. Because we have to remember that these things are not hereditary. They're man-made. They put that there for a reason. And they did that shit in LA, which is why LA is one of the most segregated cities in this country. And you can ask anybody about it, and it's yeah, haha, the blacks are here, the Mexicans are here, over here you have the Persians, and here the Armenians, and it's we know that this country is segregated and racist as fuck, and we have I don't say no plans, but no urgency. That's the word. No urgency to clean it up or fix it in any way. And I think that's really hard to reconcile with, especially as somebody who was like born and raised in a black country. Like, I saw every shade of black there was. I remember the first time I saw a white man, I said, "What's wrong with him, mommy?" Well, my brother did. I said, I was thinking it. You don't have to say it out loud. My brother said, "Why is he yellow?" Now, he was just a Lebanese man on the whiter side. He didn't have to do all that. And that's the thing too. Like, I grew up with other cultures around me. And here's the thing. Here's why I hate America and this like level of individualism that we've created. We make it so hard to build a community and actually genuinely like find comfort in ourselves, and not like wanting to go on this like rampage and drive to like make the most money. And like, I don't know. Like, I spent some time with some Guinean people over the weekend, and I was like, y'all get it. There's culture. Or like when I went to visit my friend Nare, and like she lives with a bunch of like international students, and she's Armenian herself. And like, I was like, yo, like, y'all are real humans. Like, y'all didn't participate in this like stimulation. I think like the American like mindset and like American propaganda, the way you receive it is like, it's so impressive because it's more than white supremacy. Like, it's way more than white supremacy. But there's a give and take within both cultures, which is why I posted that thing in the first place. Follow me on Instagram and you will know what I'm talking about. Like, I feel like what I say often only makes sense in conjunction with each other, but on all the platforms, all the platforms, I have like a different like following. Like, the people who follow me on TikTok don't follow me on Pinterest, and the people who follow me on Pinterest definitely do not follow my Instagram. And then there's a couple people who only follow my spam on Instagram and don't know about my public, or like don't know about the podcast or anything. That's why I ended up putting the podcast in that bio. And the spam was unlocked for a couple weeks, and I went back to hiding it because y'all know what I get. Do you know they posted the whole staff, and I'm not in not a name post. I said, well, I don't know if I go here anymore. Anyway, back to the kids and the subway surfing. It's the MTA's fault. And then, you know, you're trying to keep the kids off the street by putting them in school, but school has become a traumatic and miserable experience. Let's talk about that. I went to a school, my high school, George Washington campus, where we had metal detectors. You had to walk through the metal detector every day. One thing, I think it was in Bardo, like the prison experiment, what we learned is you treat people like prisoners, they're gonna start acting like it. We're gonna start acting like the roles you assign to people is what they like play out. Which is why, again, what you see is like important as shit. So fuck, I lost my train of thought. So like walking through metal detectors every day and like knowing, okay, like I can't wear boots because that's gonna have to make me get wanded. I don't want to get wanded. So that I'm definitely a TSA expert by now. Like, between the travel and, you know, going to a school with metal detectors, I know how to do it correct. I know which earrings ring, how much jewelry I can have on, all of it. Gum is the bane of my existence though. Like, the little gum wrappers, they go off often, and it's depending on like how much trash you keep in your pocket. I'm one of those people. Littering might kill my soul. Like, I don't know. But back to what I was saying. You treat the kids like criminals, right? How do you expect them to act? First of all, they can't even build emotional bonds and connections with their parents because, you know, you said their parents have to be at work. That's the only reason the school day is built the way it is. Spoiler alert. Oopsie. The government is an interesting entity. And so that happens, that decision is made. You say, okay, mother, you want to be away from your kids, I can give you 4 weeks. Mind you, you're not even supposed to start rumping again until 6 weeks minimum. So if I can't do that, what makes you think I could work after having a baby? Right? Not to mention postpartum and like I don't know, the effects of pregnancy on your body itself. Like, you don't even look like how you look for most of your life. You have a stranger in your house that you now have to raise. Like, let's really get into this. And the government is like, yeah, I can't help you. I can't help you. Either put your kid in school if they're old enough, or if not, put them in daycare. And make sure they stay in diapers so I can make some money. Diaper companies have to be the most. Diaper companies and Nestle with their like baby foods, Cerelac and Enfamil. Their marketing strategies have to be the most unethical I've ever seen. Because there's something about marketing an unnecessary product to a mother who is poor. So she's going out of the way to spend the little money that she has on this thing because you told her she needs it for a child, right? Knowing that she doesn't have access to clean water to even use the product properly. And so she's using now dirty water to give her child this nutrient that you said was going to like help it excel, you know, and be better than what she normally could provide the child breastfeeding. And then the child dies because the water is dirty and you didn't have to throw them in that loop or process at all. I could talk about this for ages and ages, and there's so many layers to this, right? So that's where it starts. You don't even get to know your parents or connected with them at any point because they work. Like when my mom tells me stories of like, my mom had me at 29. She tells me stories of like, oh yeah, it's like you don't work with me and like you were in your little bassinet under my desk. I said, oh, I was on the job. I'm gonna put that shit on my resume. That's probably why I'm so passionate about like UNICEF and like MSF. What is it? MS? Actually, I think it's MSF. And those are all like the amazing things that my mom did. Like I'm her daughter. But anyway, back to what I was saying. I think, you know, you separate the family in that way. Especially if you've spent the whole time telling the man like you need to work. He's not staying home. Even if the woman is making more money. And now we know in this society right now, women are making more money. Black women especially are making more money than their male counterparts. They're going to school in droves more than their male counterparts. I was talking to my friend about this and I was literally just like, men don't have anything to aim for anymore. And that's part of like the kids have nowhere to look up to. Because as a man, it's like, as a woman, here's my perspective. You're going to school to like never have to depend on a man. You're going to school to be educated and like make, you know, social impacts that will like make your life better and easier. Like for example, like women being judges and, you know, ruling on cases or like advocating for things that like make our lives easier. Like think about the fact that there was a point in time where like women weren't allowed to have credit cards. Like you could not make a purchase without your man. Crazy. That's why I know cashback must have been like the greatest, newest thing on the shelf. Like I bet a woman came up with the idea of cashback. And I use it all the time. Fun fact about me. And so they don't know their parents. You throw them in a system where they're spending 8 hours out of their day. So if they're sleeping for, you know, 8 hours and they're spending 8 hours at school, that's 16 hours. 24 minus 16 is 8. So they have 8 potential hours to be, you know, spending with their parents. But you're like telling them that they need to like have this entire rap sheet and resume built up of like interesting things they've done with their lives up until they're, you know, 17, 18 to apply to colleges. So they're spending even more time in extracurriculars. Like, I don't know what I haven't done. Like the fact that there was a time there where I was like a Cuban dancer, like Cuban salsa dancer. Great fun though. I had a blast. You know, there's a musical theater. Like, I played sports at some point. I hope there's no videos of that. I think the only one I was good at was volleyball. But it hurt my body so much. Like, I wasn't really into it. I used to read a book a day. Like, you know, we go through our seasons. And so the child is spending even more time outside of the home with their parents. And now, like, they barely have family time. And then you put screens in front of them. And that, like, becomes, you know, another roadblock. Not to mention everything that already happens naturally in terms of like kids going to puberty and being like assholes for a while. My brother's in middle school now. I'm trying to be home as much as possible before he starts hating me. You know what it is? It's also the fact that like I love that kid. You know what I'm saying? Like when my brother was a teenager, when I was a teenager, oh, the fact that we're all back to back. When I was a teenager, I'm 19. I'm in my last year of being a teen. But like I remember when I turned 13 and I was like a dickhead. I was a pretty rough sibling, I'll be honest. But I was definitely very much a dickhead to my brother. And y'all could like watch the episode that we did together. But you know, I laughed the most with that kid. Like having siblings is such a great joy. I could not imagine if I didn't have anybody to like talk shit about my parents. And they be knowing we do it. Like they have to know because they did it themselves. I hope they did. I don't know. They seem kind of, I don't know. But me and my brothers definitely talk shit about our parents for sure. Our text threads are just memes making fun of them. Love it so much. Especially now that like the African TikTok algorithm. If you find yourself on African TikTok, we're talking about all kinds of things. The Ghanaians are making, you know, are being made fun of for like their obsession with eggs. I saw one today and it was like when you're eating with the Ghanaian and like he goes to grab like some of the eggs to have with the rice and then the sound is chop rice, chop rice. Funny as fuck. And you know, there's a bunch of other stuff on there. I saw one about Guinean women being devils today.
Found out what living room child meant and
oh. That like they were sorry that Guinean women were the devil, but we were beautiful, so it evens out. We are ranked number 1 though, so you know I'm okay with that. And I want to defend us, but I don't even think it's worth it. Like we already got number 1. Devil is really insane because I feel like I'm the opposite of that. Mind you, I'm gonna pray right after I finish recording this. It says offer dua. When is it? Here's my thing though. Oh, and guys, look at the necklace that I'm wearing. It's a collab that I have to record. I still can't get through this conversation. Okay, let's play what I had put on Instagram and I'll go through and elaborate on top of things because I had sidetracked. I feel like that's the part about editing the podcast. As much as like you'd love a rant, I feel like I get to be more
100% the MTA's fault, and people dying from it is 100% the MTA's fault. And you know, I don't want to just blame the MTA because it's like the city allocates money for these things, but instead of updating the MTA, like I don't know, putting like those glass like bars that are in every other city, but New York City, when we have like one of the biggest transit systems, instead of putting those bars up, we funded police. We put robots in the train.
Police don't stop crime. I don't know who needs to. Police don't stop crime. Just because there's an officer there doesn't mean that a crime won't occur. Especially if your police officers are oftentimes the aggressors and abusers in the situations. Not only in their homes. Because the fact that you can look at statistically like who are like the biggest, you know, perpetrators of violence when it comes to like, you know, 911 calls, domestic violence and all that. Insane. So it be the police officers. It be the police officers. You got aggression towards your kids and your wife and you out here killing people's kids in the street. Yeah. I'll be honest, y'all. I'm scared of police officers. I am. And I try not to be because like, you know, at the end of the day, they're humans, like. But in certain parts of this country, like I'm scared to go to Portland. But I know there's black people in Portland. I know there's unhoused people in Portland that are literally experiencing this thing that I think is so horrific and like a dystopia to me. So bad. But I live in New York City, so we got a different level of, you know, hatred against the cops. It's fuck 12, it's fuck them boys, they outside. Like the amount of slang terms you can like literally string along to describe the cops says a lot. And you know, Eric Adam was a cop, and so the fact that he's being investigated for, you know, abusing his power Because that's what it is. Like, let's get the impeachments lined up. Like, what happened? Also, the fact that you could get impeached, get indicted, and convicted. And conviction. They say, oh my God, he did it. And still run for president is crazy to me. The nigga can't vote. Alright. I'll be mad. Well, he shouldn't be able to, at least. But that's besides the point. Not to mention, he was a Democrat just so long ago. And, y'all, America's such an interesting case study. Such an, like, is it doing the white thing? I don't know, I talk a lot. So cops don't stop crime. Even if you give them more money, they also have the biggest unions. And you know what their unions do? Fight these racism cases on their behalf. But allow them to, like, have, you know, paid leave when they're supposed to be suspended. What do you mean you kill somebody on Friday and you're in Cancun Tuesday morning?
And none.
Honestly, America is dystopian as fuck. So putting cops in subway stations has done nothing. And here's the thing, going after people. Okay, a cop literally shot, I think, how was it? Was it 3 or 4 people? Because they were trying to catch one person who didn't pay $2.90. $2.90 was worth how many people getting shot? So you'll empty the clip for $2.90. Like, we have to, guys, wake up. I want to do a video going over the ballot, but voting already started. So I'm like, I'm going to miss a couple people, but I might as well do it anyway. Because I have to do it because I'm voting on Sunday. Why is there no voting on Monday? That's fishy. Anyway, I'm going to go Sunday and come back Monday. Hopefully my dad could take me back because he don't work on Monday. But I'm not going to get here till nighttime because not early risers. Anyway, let's continue this video.
To stop crime.
It's been fuck 12 since Trayvon Martin, for real, you know what I'm saying? So
That has stopped fare evasion, and the price has only gone up.
I remember when the train was, when I started paying for it, it was $2.75, but I remember when that shit was $2.25, $2.50. I told that, I was like talking to my Uber driver about it, and he was like, I moved here in 2004, and the first time I paid for a pass, it was, I think he said $68, and it had gone up by $8. And he remembers paying for the $8 more and being like, bro, what the hell? Because that was his second pass. And that just blows my mind. I don't even know how much a monthly is worth now. Probably well into like 150 to 200. I remember when that shit was like 123. I don't know, y'all, but the cost of entry is getting more expensive and you're not guaranteeing anything. There's no guarantee that I actually make it from the stop that I'm getting on to the stop that I actually want to be. Because you want to go express, you want to go local, you want to reroute, you want to stop, you want to say we're not moving. And that happened to me on Saturday. The train moved 3 stops and then it stopped and it said, oh, we're doing an investigation. Somebody jumped in the tracks. We're looking to find them. I don't know what's going on. Like, I'll let you guys know. Don't ask me when we're leaving. I have no clue. I'll let you know when they reach out to me. Is nobody concerned? Is nobody concerned? What do you mean you cannot find a person who jumped in the tracks? I literally want to look it up later and see if somebody wrote a story about it. Like, first of all, bring journalism back. We also don't read journalism anymore. Like, I find myself picking up magazines more than, like, reading a news article. Well, that's not true necessarily. I think there's just more magazines in my house right now, and it's, like, not digital. So I guess I just need a newspaper. I will read the newspaper. Kelsey reads the newspaper, and I listen to those videos.
A normal commute can't have a normal commute because this is happening. And if children had a future to look up to.
And so the kids are subway surfing because they're not in school and they're trying to do novelty things on the Instagram to go viral so that they can have careers that pay them more than any education could afford them. Because we have to also think about, like, going to school costs money and you have to make money to pay that back, how much money you're actually getting back, wouldn't you just not go to school and make money off the rip, right? There's also the fact that like kids aren't even seeing different career avenues to go down. Like, why is it when we're kids you only know like 5 fucking jobs? It's like you could be a teacher, you could be a police officer, a firefighter, you know, a doctor or a lawyer, and then it's like, but there's more. Like, there's many other jobs to make our world function. Like, there's no fucking way like this is all we have to offer the kids for their future. And then they're watching all those people literally say, I went to school, I struggled, it was really hard for me, and I didn't make it anywhere. That's a really common story, and it's really sad. And we have to remember that, like, the people who make it to the Fortune 500 companies, the people who, you know, become lawyers and actually, like, are fulfilled with their careers, they're rare. And that there are other things for people to do. I think we're finally understanding that, like, being a creative is also fulfilling and very, very valuable work, very important work. Even if you're an actor and you're like thinking you're doing something stupid, I don't know who said this in an interview, but like maybe you're not the doctor saving a literal life, but you're entertaining that doctor. I don't know who said it, but I thought that was amazing. Like, that's the outlook that we should have on life and careers. That's why people are like, oh, don't go to school and pick a career that's not going to make you any money. Like, no, go do what you love, because the way it's looking like you're going to have to work for the rest of your life. So you're going to choose a career that you're not passionate about, that you don't care about, just to make money? Is that all your life is worth to you? Like, absolutely not.
College, I can actually have a real future, and I see. Get into it. The children have no hope. They have no hope. They watch people who, you know, busted their ass to get good grades and go to school, sit in debt, and not be able to find apartments, not be able to find jobs, not even get jobs in the field that they studied and worked so hard for.
That
you know what they are seeing? Scammers and rappers making, you know, hundreds and thousands of dollars and
literally
living the life they want.
Literally.
Why the fuck would I scrap and, you know, work so hard for something that's not even guaranteed to me when I can have it today? Right. Right. I'm right there with them. If I didn't have the financial support of my family, God knows, like, I would not be, you know, as passionate about education or pursuing education the way that I am today.
Because education, first and foremost, is a privilege. If you think about literally, like, a fundamental part of, like, the Black Panther Party was, like, we need to feed the kids, because if they don't eat, there's no point in them learning, because they're not going to retain any of this information. Like, education is a privilege that you only get to fulfill after your needs are met. Like, literally, if you feel unsafe in your body, you cannot learn. Like, education is a privilege to that extent. Like, you have to be good on all those accounts, which is, man. Because if you guys have seen the video of a high school kid, like, showing up, and he was, like, showing my teacher her salary because she wanted to put me out the classroom. You can't respect somebody you pity. You can't respect somebody whose authority isn't even respected by their own bosses. Like, the way admin treat teachers, and I saw with my own 2 eyes admin, like, sunning teachers and their employees. And to the extent, like, at my school, there was, like, a news article about an altercation that had happened in a meeting between admin and a staff member. And it was on the account of race. And, like, starting almost an inflammatory conversation about race in that way, when you haven't done a good job of teaching your students, you know, race and, like, all these terms that you're utilizing, it's different. And especially if you, like, want to kiki with the students as admin. I don't know. It's interesting. It made me know that I wanted to be in the classroom, that I, like, didn't want to necessarily work in administration. Like, sure, that's where the money is, but, like, nobody's trying to be a professor to make bread. Let's be fucking real. That's why, like, I do have aspirations other than being a professor. Like, I'm gonna be a professor, but I'm also be Oprah. You know what I mean? I'm gonna be a professor, but, you know, there's gonna be book publishers. Like, you know? We can only hope. All right. So I said that.
Listen, like, on one hand, you have these kids who, like, don't like school. They don't see a purpose for it, so they're not in school. Or when they are in school, disrupting the class. And then on the other hand, there's students like myself who, like, are nerds, love school, love learning, or, like, are just literally here for the education that they were promised. Especially, like, my parents moved to the States so I could get this free education. Y'all, I could have very much been a private school, boarding school pipeline kid, but my parents decided, like, you're gonna come to the States and you're gonna have.
And, like, I have cousins who went to private schools and are international students in France. And their dedication to education is, like, completely different from the one we get here. And academics is just more rigorous everywhere else. Like, even if you look at, like, the way people in Jamaica, like, do their final exams, how, like, even South Africa, when you look, and this is, like, a product of colonialism, where you have to go in with your hair, like, braided, or even the rules in, like, most private schools until most recently, like, your hair has to be done a certain way. Or, like, I saw this girl make a TikTok about in Nigeria, when she has to go to, like, her law school dinners, she has to wear her natural hair. And there's, like, certain styles she can do with her natural hair on top of wearing professional clothing. Like, white supremacy will be perfected in every single thing as long as we live in a system that is adamant on, having subordinate and second-class citizens in it. But when you are in class and you feel like there's no purpose of you being here, like, you're not taking anything away from showing up to school, it's very difficult to stay motivated and believe in a system that you're watching fail. And I think the way students and teenagers are reacting is just one of two ways. It's the outlook of, like me, I was like, I need to graduate high school early, like, get me the fuck out of here. I was ready to go because I was tired of witnessing this. And then there's the other version of, like, let me drop out. Like, I could be a scammer tomorrow. I'm a scammer today. Why I gotta worry myself and scam and worry about my exams? You know what I'm saying? Like, these kids got money. Like, these kids got money. But they need to worry about getting money. So, like,
what I'm saying is the kids don't have role models. It's not their parents because they don't see their parents. Their parents are at work. It's not their teachers because they make more money than their teachers, and they see how miserable their teachers actually are in the positions that they've, like, worked so hard to be. You need a master's degree to be a teacher, at least. You know what I'm saying? Like, or you're working towards your master's. So, like, you have teachers who are in school working this job, working a side job to stay afloat, and they still have to pay attention to these kids. Fucking ridiculous. Fucking ridiculous. But who we are seeing make money is the YouTubers, is the social media influencers. And so you have these kids doing anything for shock value on the internet, rather than, like, taking the time to be children and learn about themselves and build their identities and
me nodding my head to my own points,
dreams and aspirations. They trying to be Kai Cenat. We trying to be Phantom. And all this is the government trying to take away your rights to an abortion and birth control. And you think having a baby is less of a commitment than getting married. I'm scared. I'm scared for the generation. I'm not even gonna hold you. I'm terrified. I'm terrified. Because if you think it's less of a commitment to bring a child into this world who you have the responsibility of raising for the rest of your life, like, I don't think y'all get this. Like, when a child is born, them is your parents biologically for the rest of your life.
Like, that is your responsibility for the rest of your life to take care of that child. And the partner you choose to have, children with is going to be that child's parent for the rest of their life. Like, the kid can never get away from the fact that that is their parent. And you need to make a conscientious decision when reproducing that, like, it's not just to have a cute baby. Like, you're raising, a member of society that's, like, going to vote one day, that's, like, going to eventually, have children of their own. Like, you want to be aware of like the job that you're doing, you know? And that takes like doing work for yourself. Like I'm sick of seeing people have kids young and they don't got money. Congratulations, I wish you the best. I have you in my prayers, I do. But that's not what we need to be doing. I was the kid who everybody was like, you're so mature, you're so grown up, you're so smart, because I did everything I needed to do. And in comparison to these delinquents, I was an angel, but I wasn't. I was struggling. I was a child who was still struggling, that needed a lot of support, which I didn't often get because I didn't look like I needed it. Even today, I was literally talking about, like, I'm going through it, like, I need a lot of help and support, and, like, I've been having a hard time, and I need all these things. And Shorty looks up and she goes, you don't look it, you look great. That's the problem. That's the problem. We're doing it based on looks and aesthetics and not like the condition of these kids. That's why now before you take therapy, I don't even know what the test is called, and they literally have you answer questions on like a sliding scale of 0 to 5, and your total number at the end is entry was, I never know how to Google something that I'm looking for. I don't know what it's called. It's like a trauma number, which is so funny. Okay, the ACEs quiz. Okay, so everyone should take the ACEs quiz to just know. They like ask you questions about your childhood. Oh my god. Y'all want to do it together? For each yes answer, add 1. This is what I'm saying. Like, the kids don't know how to read. I'm a product of that. Like, and I was the read aloud kid. Anyway, and reading is more than like sounding out the words, guys. Reading is more than phonetics. English class is more than your summary of the story. I was sitting in I want to say it was a sophomore or junior class of high school, and the teacher was like, okay, like, what is your analysis? Because they were reading Fences. And she goes, what is your analysis? Kid just reads out his summary. And he really thought that was an analysis. And, like, that's what I'm saying by, like, the standard of, like, what you need to know is also going down. I was literally talking, like, I'm applying to law school and they're changing the bar exam. Because the standard is going down. Like, people are definitely a lot dumber post 2020 than before. I believe that, and Terrell said that in a video yesterday, and I was like, that's funny. But take the ISIS quiz. It gives you a score at the end, and it's basically the level of like adversity you face, and it's valuable to know that, because now we're learning that like experiencing trauma is directly linked to diseases like cancer, heart problems, chronic issues. Like, not chronic pain is linked to, but anybody could have told you that. That's why we have like limpias and, you know, like cleansing culture and like spiritual and physical practices, because we know that like your mind, body, spirit is all connected. I watched this Netflix show. I don't even know if I finished it. It's so freaking good. I think it's called Another Self. Bro, when I tell you this show literally had me sobbing every episode. Yes, it's called Another Self. It's Turkish. It's a Turkish show. And basically, there's this doctor who was like healing her friend who had cancer, and you know, her, oh my god, there's a bug in my room. It better be on the other side of the glass. The only bees aren't bugs. I don't think that counts, but that's all I tolerate. But anyway, she's a doctor, and she's always like rejected like Eastern medicine in terms of like, you know, talk therapy, fixing things like cancer. But there was this guy, his name is Mr. Zaman, and Zaman Bey, and he, you know, practiced Eastern medicine, he was a doctor, and he essentially changed her opinion on it. And like watching her like solve her like mommy and daddy issues through these like experiments of like acting, and that was really interesting. And like I believe in shit like that. Shit. I believe that sometimes, you know, I need to sleep a little differently. You know what I'm saying? That video of he talking about if there's somebody chasing you in your dream, you need to go in position. I'm on the internet too much, so if you don't know the TikTok I'm talking about, I'm sorry. But the other thing I was going to add is that we need to speak to each other, and we need to make our voices heard collectively, because we're all thinking the same thing. That's all I've learned from posting these videos.
Make matters worse, the standards of education.
And the way I posted these videos might not get the most views, because you have to let your Instagram time out to get the most views. Like, if I let my Instagram time out, it might be 500 people viewing my shit depending on what I post. And it's like, what? Period. So I have to bring my car. Oh no. You can't open your mouth and talk too soon before you make your plans. Like, that's the one thing I have learned consistently. Like, you can't speak too soon. Ever. Don't speak too soon, y'all. I feel like the things that I enjoy the most in my life are the things that like I've kept to myself long and dear. That's why I be, you know, gatekeeping niggas. Real life, real life, real life. The second I'm like, guys, I think I like a boy. Hey. He's a sweet, fine, hey. Yeah. I feel like another thing is like talking to older women and being told, don't worry about no man. Ugh. I don't even have to try to be single. It's just, it's the way of being. Honestly, I can't date till I turn 20, because that man you meet at 19 syndrome is terrifying to me. I don't want to be an example. I don't want to have a story to tell. I have too many stories to tell, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't need to. I don't need it. I don't need it, y'all. I don't need it. I have an hour to my meeting. I need to send in this proposal by today. And then I'm going to go to class and then go to the library. Go to the library. Library and eat. I don't know. I feel like cooking for myself has really spoiled the fuck out of me. Anyway, y'all. That is all from me. I feel like we talked about a bunch of different topics. I shared a little bit about myself. You see me in my Halloween costume. Here's the thing. I'm wearing this outfit today, and you know, if you know me, I would wear this on a regular. Like, this could be something that lives in my closet. And even Colette told me, she was like, you could definitely wear those pants on their own. And so I had a meeting this morning. She was like, I love your outfit. I'm like, thank you. And I think she caught on, like, girl, I'm Barbie. And I was like, yeah, I'm dressed up as Barbie. And she goes, I didn't even realize. I said, so I'm really dressing this whimsical every day. I'm y'all's Barbie. Barbie Salamata signing out.